Yeah, you make sure Mr. Porter understands that was you that made that mistake.
Hello, Realty Pros. Thank you for joining us for this evening's mastermind. We're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right in. We have our principal broker, Mrs. Jasmine Porter, with us, and she is going to be sharing with us for this evening. I am going to go ahead. I'm going to turn it over to her. I want to thank her and you all for joining us this evening.
Good evening, Realty Pros, and welcome back. I'm excited. This is our first mastermind meeting of 2025, and thank you so much to our amazing Anita Bowie for the introduction and for making sure that everybody was able to join the meeting. Again, good evening to all of our Realty Pros. I see you guys who've joined us on time. Hats off to you. As promised, we are going to begin with our business planning for this evening. And if you've been at Porterhouse for any amount of time, you know that this is something that we are very passionate about doing at the top of every year. The goal is for us to begin preparing before the year begins, but when the year starts, we should already be on our mark so that we can get set and then we can go, all right? So that is absolutely the purpose of us business planning for success. We are going to do things a little bit differently this year. So in your Brokerment libraries, everybody has access to your business plans, and we'll go to the Brokerment library in the event that there's anybody that's new on the line or who will be watching the video who has not yet accessed your business plans. Nevertheless, what I want us to do is to break it down so that it's so simplistic that each and every last Realty Pro will be able to accomplish it in one setting. That is our goal. I'm going to say it again. I want to break it down so that it is so simple that each and every last Realty Pro will be able to accomplish it in one setting. And that is the format that we're going to go through tonight. So what we're going through tonight is not the business plan, but the format by which we are going to complete our business plans this year. All right. So we're going to go ahead. Let me move this out of the way here. Here we go. So in business planning for success. Yes, thank you. Can you guys hear me okay? Excellent. So in business planning for success, there are several things that I want to make sure that every last one of us understands, because these points are imperative and it kind of gives you a glimpse into our passion behind making sure that we complete these business plans yearly. If you see the image on the right of the screen, there's some things that are depicted there that most people are simply not aware of, right? The main focus there is that people with written goals achieve 30 times more than people who do not have written goals. Somebody drop that in the chat. People with written goals achieve 30 times more. So just put 30 times more than people who do not have written goals. Now, that is a very big deal because 83% of people walk around with no goals at all. 83% of people simply move from day to day doing the busy tasks and things that are necessary in order for them to get through the week or get through the month or do whatever is most pertinent or pressing at the moment. But 83% of people have no goals at all. All right, let's take it a step further. 14% of people have goals, but those goals are in their head. Those goals are not written down, they're in their head, right? Only a staggering 3% of people have written goals. So whenever we're pursuing excellence as a Porterhouse brand, and for all of our Realty Pros, we are pushing all of our Realty Pros to be that 3% of people with written goals. Why? People who have goals are 10 times more successful than people who have no goals. And then people who have written goals are 30 times more successful than people who have no goals. I want to take a moment and pause because I want us to think about that. Because there's tremendous magnitude in what it is that we're about to embark upon. And I want to make sure that each and every last one of us gives it the level of gravity and the level of attention that it deserves. People with written goals achieve 30 times more than people who do not have goals. I'm going to pause right there for a moment because I want you guys to think about it. And if you think of anything that comes to mind, you can drop it in the chat. You can unmute yourself. As always, our trainings are interactive, but I really want to know what that means to you. If that's an aha moment, if you say, wow, that really makes me think about maybe this circumstance, this person, this training, or whatever it is that may come to mind for you when you hear that. I want to hear from you guys. We're going to work through this together. All right. So let me ask you, of those of us that are on the line, there you go, 30 times more, 30 times more. Those of us that are on the line and everybody that's in Porterhouse, our goal is for us to constantly be in that top 3% of people who not only have goals, but have written goals, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to break down our goal planning so that it's so simple that every single one of us will be able to accomplish it. But before we do that, some of the things that we want to know is these goals, when we set these goals, it's going to be imperative that we keep them before us, right? We know the word that tells us to write the vision and make it plain. We're supposed to write these things down so that we have them inscribed or wherever it is that we look, whether it be on our cell phone or whether it be in a planner or on our computer or on our calendar or wherever it is that we have that we pay attention to on a daily basis. That could be on your refrigerator, it could be on your mirror in the bathroom, but we want to make sure that these things remain top of mind for each and every last one of our Realty Pros. All right. So I said that we were going to do things a little bit differently. So if you are not driving, because we know that Darlene is driving, for everybody else who's not driving, I want you to either pull out your phone or pull out a piece of paper because this is going to be a work through session this evening rather than a training / presentation. We're going to work through this together. Okay. So grab a piece of paper or grab your phone, but grab something so that you can actually fulfill this evening. I'll give you guys a few moments to do that. You guys give me a thumbs up when you're prepared and we'll go ahead and move forward. And welcome. I see we've had a number of our Realty Pros who've joined since we've begun. Welcome to you all. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Once everybody has something to write with, what we're going to do is identify your top 10 goals for 2025, right? When you look at your business plan, you see every different facet of your life. You see your spiritual, your physical, your mental, your social contribution, your business, your health. You see all of these different aspects of your life, right? So of course, we want you to write down what your goals are for those various areas, but I want you to be more specific. I want you to say, what are my top 10 goals that if I accomplish these 10 goals, I will be absolutely happy with myself this year. So take about maybe 3 to 5 minutes or so and go ahead and jot down your top 10 goals for this year. And for those of our Realty Pros who have joined since we began, we're talking about business planning for 2025. We're already past the first slide, but even on the second slide, you can see what the premise for our activity this evening is. We're writing down goals. Goal setting is very important. We're going to get to the point where we make them smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound so that everything will have a deadline. But before we get there, we've got to identify what those top 10 most pertinent things are for us to accomplish this year. And if you get through them and you say, okay, well, I only have 5 that are the most pressing for me this year, that is fine, as long as they are the most important things for you to accomplish this year. All right. We already said that people who have written goals achieve 30 times more than people who have no goals set. And for those who joined us late as well, just to reiterate briefly for you guys, 83% of people have no goals at all. They simply live from day to day, accomplishing whatever is necessary or required of them from that day. 14% of people have goals, but they're just in their heads. Whereas only 3% of us have written goals. And that 3% achieves 30 times more than the people who do not have goals. So that is the backdrop of why we're doing what it is that we're doing and why we're pushing for you guys to be part of that 3%. All right. So let me know when you guys have finished writing down your top goals for the year. Give you a few moments to think about it. If anybody has any questions, you can drop it in the chat because I know that there are a number of our Realty pros who are just joining us, and I want to make sure that you guys get everything that you need from this evening. How's everybody doing with writing down those goals? Excellent. I see your messages in the chat. Doing good. Give me a thumbs up if you've gotten all of them written down, or as soon as you've completed it, give me a thumbs up. Checking in with you guys again. Is everybody coming along well? Excellent. Take a few more minutes. You can get your goals written down. Are we coming along? You guys need more time, or are we ready to move on to the next step? Okay. If you don't have 10, that is perfectly fine, as long as you've captured everything that is pertinent for you this year. Everything that's most important. All right. Is everybody good? We're going to keep moving forward. All right. So now out of those top 10 goals, or as many as you were able to produce there, what I want you to do is I want you to circle or indicate which one of those is the single most important. That if you were to accomplish that goal this year, it would have the single most positive impact on your life. So I'm going to say that again. I want you to identify of the goals that you've just written down, which of them is the single most important, or which of them would have the most impact on your life. Which one would have the single most positive impact on your life? That's the one that I want you to single out. And once you've gotten that, I want you to indicate it. Let me know once you've figured out which one that is. All of them are important, but one of them has to be priority. That if you accomplish that one goal, it would have the single most positive impact on every other area. All right. So once you've identified that, I want you guys to come off mute and I want you to tell me what that one goal is. I want to hear from all of us. You keep the rest of them. You don't throw them away, but we're going to prioritize some things for you. You can take another couple moments to make sure that everybody has completed this part of the activity. And then once you guys are ready, you can give me a thumbs up. Of the 10 goals that you specify, which of these goals, if accomplished, would give you the single most positive impact on everything else? All right, who would like to be our first volunteer? Come on.
Go ahead and unmute. So I said that work-life balance would be the single most, because if I can get that together, then all of the other things that I want to do, whether they are, in my business or otherwise, they would get done.
Who would like to go next? Thank you so much for sharing that, Anita. And what we're going to do is, as we share our goals, our role is going to be to make sure that we make them specific, measurable, attainable, and time-bound. We know that everything that we're saying is relevant already because it came from your top 10 list. But as it pertains to any of our goals, make it specific and measurable so that you can track your progress, right? So if you say, okay, with regards to the work-life balance, what does that look like? Does that look like identifying time blocking spaces for business versus for the personal life so that you can measure your progress week in and week out? All right, who'd like to go next? Come on, Mr. Ambassador, sir. Unmute yourself. I see your mouth moving, but you're muted.
Try it again.
There you are.
Okay, good. So I kind of did two. But I'll give you the one that's more business related. My goal is to have half a, I'm sorry, $250,000 income, total income by the end of the year.
Amen. Sounds good. Excellent. Who would like to go next? Thank you for sharing. Marcus.
My top goal was to have 14 to 16 transactions by the end of the year. By December 25th, 2025.
Excellent. Sounds like a great Christmas to me.
Yeah,
Sounds like a
that
vacation
would
and
be good.
Christmas.
That would be a great Christmas.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for sharing. Renee, I'd love to hear your top one goal.
My one goal was similar to the gentleman that just said that by the end of the year, I wanted to have at least anywhere from 13 to 15 sales. I want to make myself more marketable, meaning that I want to go out and um, be a little bit, giving myself more exposure as far as with sending out my flyers, my cards. I have over 500 cards that we ordered, and I kind of hold on to them without even passing them out. And I started doing that. It's just making myself more marketable so that I can get, sales. And I hope to have at least anywhere from 13 to 15 by the end of the year. And it's also reaching out to the $1 million listings.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that, Renee. So you said 13 to 15. All right. Let's see. Who'd like to go next? Welcome to you, Jawan. I know you joined us. Hopefully you were able to get this activity completed. If so, are you able to share with us your top goal for this year? The
Hey,
one that would
Jasmine.
have the single most positive impact?
Hey, Jasmine, can you hear me?
I sure can.
My goal for this year, my top goal would be to complete anywhere between 7 and 10 transactions for the year. And then just get more consistent in the content, social media space, and just really soaking in as much knowledge as I can about the industry.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. All right. Darlene, you're driving. If you are able to unmute yourself and do so, otherwise we're going to keep moving. Angela, what's your top one goal that if completed would have the single most positive impact on everything else? If you're unable to unmute, no worries. Let's move on to Talita, and then we can come back to both you and Darlene. Talita.
My top number one goal
Hello, Darlene.
is to door knock.
So that's a really good deal. So
That's a
then
big deal
as it
for me.
pertains to the door knocking, we want to do the same thing. We want to make it specific, measurable, attainable, and then time bound. So what does that look like? So how many doors are you going to knock per week?
I need to do the first one.
So let me ask you this. What does the door knocking lead to? What's the purpose of the door knocking?
It leads to a potential lead for whether it even be a listing or it could be somebody that's renting a house and needs, to purchase. And it's me peeling back that layer of, my apprehension with it. And I know that if I can come out of that shell, it could, things could go further. So I feel it. I know, not feel that if I could get, I got to get on that, and it's just it's starting. Okay, so it's just knocking, and not necessarily have my heart jumping out my shirt when I'm walking up the to the porch.
Got it. I love it. I'm going to ask a further question. So the door knocking is so that you can get listings and so that you can get buyer clients as well. So along those same lines, how many listings and buyer clients, how many closed transactions are you looking to get out of the door knocking or for the year?
You said before the end of the year?
Mhm.
If I can get a good 30, I think that would be good. That would be
Perfect.
great.
Perfect. Perfect. So the whole purpose of the door knocking is 30 closed transactions. I love it. All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. Who's able to go next? If you're able to unmute yourself. Talita, if you're able to unmute.
Hi, I'd like to implement a daily routine of making calls. I want to get my online presence
Mm-hmm.
and do more marketing. That's
Excellent.
all.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So let me ask you these further questions. So the online marketing and making calls and more marketing and all of that, what's the purpose of all of that?
To get leads, hopefully 10 to 15 transactions this year. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
10 to 15 transactions, that's your goal.
That's my
right?
goal.
I love
Yes.
it. Let's see. Who else haven't we heard from? I don't want to leave anyone out. Okay. Angela, when you are unable to mute, we want to hear from you as well. Until then, we'll go ahead and continue. There is a central theme, if you guys haven't noticed. The one thing that would have the single most positive impact on every other area of your life, if you were to complete that one thing or achieve that one goal this year, consistently, it's been more business, right? Even with Anita starting with the work-life balance, the purpose of that was to be able to do more business, to be able to complete more transactions. Even with Kermom, with the, the 250,000 or $250,000 worth of income this year, very much doable. And all of that is along the same lines. I hear 14 to 16 transactions, 13 to 15, 7 to 10, 30 transactions, making calls, door knocking, marketing on social media. All of these things have the exact same end in mind. And the goal for all of them is more business, which equals more commission, which equals more earnings for you this year. So I want to make sure that we all have a crystal clear focus that the one area of our lives that impacts everything else is your money. So when you are earning what you need to earn to give yourself the lifestyle that you need, it has the single most positive impact on everything else in your life. Because then you're able to do the things that you want to do with family, you want to do with friends, you want to do with vacation, you want to do with planning and, whether it be investments or relaxation or whatever it is that you want to do. It reminds me of a familiar scripture. It says money answers all things. While we don't love money, because the love of money is the root of all evil, nevertheless, money itself answers all things. So we want to be mindful that we are in business and we are business people. And the purpose of us being in this service business is not only to serve people, but for us to benefit from our service and make money doing it, right? That's the purpose of us being in business. So with everything that we're going over in terms of your goals, everybody has highlighted their top one goal. So then our next step along those lines will be to identify what is that action plan, right? If you already know your goal is an additional 13 transactions this year or 30 transactions this year, what does that need to look like, right? So we're going to go on to our next slide. All right. So our goal is going to be to create that action plan. Right in our Broker Mint library, you have that action planner or tracker right in that library where our goal is going to be for you to write down specifically what those steps are. Like you heard Anita say, starting out, the work-life balance aspect. It's very important, right? All of that's important. And how do we accomplish that? We accomplish that through time blocking. So whether it be in your planner or on your cell phone or on your calendar, your calendar, whatever it is that you use in order for you to block your time, this is our next step in this process. Because each and every last one of us, you need to have something that you use for your schedule. So whether it's an electronic planner or whether it's a physical copy, what your takeaway or your homework is going to be is for you to actually look at what you already have. And I'm going to go through that as well so that we know how to time block, because it's imperative for us to have that balance. It's going to be imperative for us to be able to even have the time that we need in order to prospect and make the calls and send the text messages. Oftentimes when we don't write things down, it feels like you have so much going on because it's all just kind of floating out there. But I don't know about you. I'm one that I need to actually physically write down the things that I have to do. Physically write it down or type it in my phone. And once I do, then I can see it all. And it's not just all in your head, because it'll make you feel like you are just so preoccupied with all these things you have to do. It kind of pulls them out of the cloud, so to speak. You know how it is with these iPhones or with any phone that we have, most things now are backed up and stored on the cloud. That's how it is when you have a whole lot of things that you need to do and they're all on your mind, opposed to writing those things down and making them actionable goals. So that is what our goal is going to be. That is what our action steps are going to be. All right. So with that being said, we'll need to assess, what is it that I need to accomplish this goal? So what resources, what skills, what knowledge do I need to acquire? And this is something that we go over every single year when we're talking about our SMART goal tracker, the specific, what specifically do I want to accomplish? Right? You have to completely identify what it is, and you want to think about the why behind that. The measurable, how much, how often. So as it pertains to even our door knocking, we want to make that specific. We know it's door knocking, but let's break it down even further. Where are we door knocking? We can door knock around each one of the listings that we've had, or each one of the sales that we've had, or in your farm area. So let's be specific so that we identify those things right offhand. If we're making calls, let's be specific about making the calls. Who specifically am I reaching out to? Well, for everybody that was on training this afternoon, we know for each of us, we're starting with our sphere of influence. After our sphere of influence has been accomplished, then we're going to move next to our calls for people that we want to bring into our sphere of influence. All right. So we want to identify those things and be very specific. Then measurable. How will you know once you've accomplished your goal? Well, as it pertains to calls, once you've had 11 calls per day, you can check that box because you were specific with who you were going to call. You measured it. You know how many people you were going to call. When are you going to make those calls, right? That's a part of that specific and measurable as well, so that you know specifically what time works well. Well, if you're thinking about the time that most people answer the phone, it's generally between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. So those are the best times for you to actually get people on the phone. Outside of that, you can make a call at any time. And as is the case, oftentimes people will get back to you. Some people are going to answer. Some people are going to have to call you back later that day or the next day. But if you had to determine whether or not to make the call or not, I would say make the call at whatever time you have available within your time block to make those calls. Because even if you have to make a follow-up call or wait for somebody to respond to yours, at the very least, you've accomplished your goal by making those calls and planting those seeds and being diligent to do the things that you need to do so that you can get all the contacts that you need and have all the closings that you want for this year. All right. Another thing for us to consider, what obstacles might I face? Right? And how will I overcome them? This is something that's very pertinent because life is going to happen, or as I hear people say, life will life. People say life is lifing, but you've got to anticipate that that is the case and that will be the case, right? In a perfect world, we would have no distractions, but then that also wouldn't be the real world. So what does that mean? That means that you've got a time block, but you've got to be intentional to move around that time block as need be, being sure to give the same amount of time and accomplish the task. But if that means you have to be flexible, and instead of calling between 8 and 10, you call between 4 and 6, that's fine, because you've blocked out that time and you've accomplished that task, right? So that's something you want to anticipate what obstacles and come up with solutions so that when those things happen, you're not taken aback by those things, but you were prepared. All right. Another thing you want to consider is who can help me to achieve this goal. So I want you to think about the mentorship that you have with Porterhouse. You have, of course, your broker and owner. Of course, you have your office manager, but you also have a dynamic team of leaders and realty pros. And all of us have a supply. Each and every last realty pro has at least one gift, if not multiple gifts. And there are things that you can reach out to your colleagues for, and you determine who it is that you want to reach out to, but use the resources that you have. If there's a question that you have, oftentimes there's information that you're going to be able to find right in the Brokerment library, or right on the training channel, or reaching out to one of us. Or one of the things that I love to do is go to YouTube University. And if there's something you need to learn really quickly, you can binge watch your YouTube videos until you are nearly an expert in the subject matter. So utilize your resources. Anticipate that there will be challenges that you'll have to overcome, but be prepped and ready to overcome them. So that no matter what comes up, you know, hey, the next person had to overcome it too in order to get to where they are. And look, they did it, so can I. Right? When I think about life and I think about obstacles, I think about being a game player. And I don't know about you guys, but we grew up playing games, and I don't play them as much anymore, but I was very, very competitive with my brother and with my cousins growing up on those video games. And aside from my older cousin, I was probably the second best in the video games. And one of the things that you learn from playing those games is when you're on level 1, the obstacles are simpler. Right? Then you get to the end and you master that board, you go to level 2, they become a bit more challenging. But then you master that, you get to the end, you go to level 3, and progressively the obstacles and the challenges become more progressive, or they become more of a challenge the higher you go. However, when you get to the point where you have mastered that game and you've won the whole game, or you've gotten to your highest level or whatever it is, there's a certain sense of accomplishment that you feel, because you realize no matter, you know, whether it was on Mario Brothers and you had to jump on the top of the heads or jump over what were they called? The pipes or sewage or whatever they were. It's been so long since I played those games, but whatever it was, you know how to anticipate those obstacles. You know that they're not there so that you can't achieve your goal. There's simply things that you have to anticipate overcoming on the way to your success. So I want you guys to think about things from that perspective in real estate. When an obstacle comes up, guess what? This might be level 2, or this might be level 10, or whatever that level is, but you're going to get past this and you're going to get to the next level. It's just an obstacle to overcome. So whether you have to jump over it, whether you have to drill under it, whether you have to go through it, whether you have to knock it down, whatever it is that you have to do, you overcome that obstacle, you remain focused, and you move to the next level. All right, so that pertains to what things you need. Next, what we're going to be doing is developing that action plan so that we can achieve these goals. And we're going to integrate these steps into our daily tasks. Right? So you guys have one goal that we've identified that would have the single most positive impact on the rest of your life. So now what does that look like? When we take that one goal that we desire to achieve and we extrapolate that out over our planners for the next month, what does that look like? Well, if you were on the training this afternoon, you already know what it looks like in terms of the time that you need to commit to it. Drop in the chat how much time you need to prospect in order for you to accomplish the 6 figures this year. Drop it in the chat. How much time do you need to prospect, and how many people do you need to reach? And let's see who gets that in the chat first there. How much time do you need in that daily prospecting? And how many people do you need to reach? Drop it in the chat. Come on, Realty Pros. So I'll reiterate if need be from our chat this afternoon, but I know you guys have got this. I'm positive that you guys will recall what we said on our training this afternoon. There you go. There you go. 1.5 hours worth of prospecting. How many contacts do you need to make in that 1.5 hours? Come on, Realty Pros. Definitely several, for sure. There you go, Marcus. I see 10, 11, perfect. So within that 1.5 hours, you can reach anywhere from 8 to 12 contacts. And the sweet spot there was 11 contacts is going to give you what you need so that you are able to accomplish 6 figures in your real estate business this year. I knew you guys had it in you. So I can revisit that slide, but I want you guys to go back and delve into everything that we have put in that business plan for you, because it is there to help you to map out what your day needs to look like in order for you to be successful at this. All right. So you have a question? Okay.
Miss
You can go
Porter,
ahead.
Miss Porter.
Sure.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
just wondering, can you give your definition of exactly what a contact is and what it's not?
Absolutely. So a contact is somebody that you have a name, a telephone number, and an email address for. That is a contact. All right. Anita, you had a question as well? Go ahead.
So my question is, because I love the business plan, but not a but, I love the business plan that we're provided with. Are there any specific areas of the business plan that would be most beneficial for us to like review and focus on?
So great question. And yes, certainly. So what I'm going to do is, let me go from here. I'm going to stop that share and I'm going to take you guys to your BrokerMint library. One second, I'm going to open that up for you. No worries at all. I'm going to open it up and we'll go straight there. All right. So in your business plan, there are some very, very, very helpful exercises in here. One of the first things that we go over every single year is the part where we go through our exercise of determining your why, because we know that your why is 95% of the reason that you're successful. What does that mean? Kermon always says your why should make you cry. I like when he says that. That's pretty cool. With that being said, you have to have something strong that's motivating you to do what it is that you're doing. There has to be some type of passion, some type of desire, whether it's financial freedom, whether it's helping people, whether it's a personal testimony, whether it's purpose in and of itself, whether it's, you know, college fund for the kids, or whether it's retirement, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's a house or new house or vacation or whatever it is that is pushing you into this real estate industry in and of itself. That is something very important for you to focus on, because your why, again, is 95% of the reason that you are successful. Your plan of action and your skills, that's the other 5%. So as we roll down, or as we scroll throughout this business plan, there's a section there for the wheel of life. And there's a visualization exercise that we ask for everybody to take 30 to 45 minutes without interruptions, and for you to visualize where you want to be in the next year and then in the next 5 years. And as we said, in the business plan, you have the wheel of life, where it has all of these different sections highlighted, because of course, we're not just business. We have several different aspects of our life. It allows you to take a look at all of those things. But what we've done is we've curtailed this activity, and we've said, okay, of all of these things that we do yearly, let's go straight to the gusto, if you will, and say, out of everything that we'd like to accomplish for this year, what is the single most important one? Which one, if accomplished, would have the single most positive impact on every other area of our lives? So what we're doing is we're going to take our business plan and we're going to map those things out. And what we're going to do is this is going to be on a quarterly basis, because you've already identified the top 10. So you have somewhere between 5 and 10 items that you've identified. So you already know what your goals are for the year. But if you have 10 things to focus on, then there is no focus at all. So what our goal has been was to identify those things in terms of priority. Which one is number one? And that is where you're going to dedicate your focus to. And then once you accomplish that thing, then you move on and you say, okay, which of these things was number 2? And then you get that done. Which of these was number 3? And then you get that done. But it helps so that you're not scattered, but you're very focused in your endeavors and you can do everything that you need to do as it pertains to it. All right. In this business plan, also, there's a space where you can look in hindsight at what you did last year. So you can measure your success against your efforts. I'm going to scroll past this part because your business goals for 2025, this is where you're going to plug in what you guys said in the beginning. So your let's see, your year-end paid income, you're going to put that 250K there, Kermon. Your closed transactions, you're going to put your 13 to 15 transactions in there. So Marcus, for anybody else, everybody else who named the number of transactions, this is where you're going to place that on your business goals for 2025. And then you're simply going to follow the formula on this next page to determine what that exactly looks like for you. Because if your goal is 14 transactions, then out of that 14 transactions, we already have it here, the making it easy, breaking down the numbers for you. So you already know exactly what you need to do. You know how often you need to do it. And here's where the 10 contacts a day came from in this formula. And that's where your 1.5 hours of daily prospecting comes in. And this is simply for an income of 6 figures in real estate. All right. So I want to make sure that I don't skip over if anybody has any questions. Does anybody have any questions, any comments, any thoughts, any points of clarity needed on any of the information that we've discussed so far? Anybody have any questions? All right, if not, then we're going to keep going. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. Otherwise, you can unmute yourself and jump right in. But this is what we discussed in terms of the action plan, right? Your action plan, it needs to be specific, it needs to be measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So everything that we're talking about in terms of the goals that we're setting, you want to make sure that they meet all of this criteria so that it helps you to hit your target because you know specifically what you're aiming for. All right. As an example, if you say, okay, well, my goal is to exercise every day, in order to make that a SMART goal, you want to make sure you determine what type of exercise do you want to do, right? Get your membership or your bike or whatever it is that you need. Exercise, you know, time blocks. You want to put that into your calendar so that you might say, okay, well, I want to do, you know, I want to ride my bike for 30 minutes a day, and you put that on what, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever that looks like for you, but you want to be very specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound so that you can follow your progress on a weekly basis. All right. That business income goal to earn the 100K in gross closed commissions is actually going to be a whole lot more than that. Like we said before, these numbers are very conservative and the market has gone up quite significantly since then. So if you were to accomplish those 14 transactions, your income is going to be well above 100K. I think the last time we did those numbers, it was somewhere around 180K or something like that. We can do those numbers again for you without any problem. But I want to get to this page where we're organizing our time because this is exactly what we're talking about. So when we organize our time and we have our daily schedule, this is where the time blocking comes in. You say in the morning, okay, if you start at 8:30, you might organize the day and write out your affirmations or declare your affirmations for that first 30 minutes of your day. This is just you organizing your day and stating your affirmations. Then the next 30 minutes, it can be to review your business plan goals. Because of course, we started out by saying you want to keep those goals ever present before you. You want to put them either on your phone or on your mirror in the bathroom, on your refrigerator, or in your planner or your laptop, wherever it is that you know that you are going to pay attention to those goals and you're going to lay your eyes on them every single day. That's where we want you to store your business plan goals. Okay. One of the things that I do is I'm sure that many of us use our calendar reminders for things. In your calendar, you can literally set a note and you can have an indicator that comes to you every single morning and you can drop your goals in there. So every day you'll have a reminder that'll come up, review business plan goals, and you click on it, you open it up, and your goals are right in front of your face. You can do it in your calendar. So you know how you have your calendar and you have the notes section in your calendar? Yep. And you can have it to remind you every day. That's an easy way to do it. If you're somebody that needs to see it printed out, I'm like that in a lot of regards. You might want to print it out and put it on your refrigerator. Or if you carry around your laptop, you want to print it out and keep a copy of it with you in your laptop bag, or whatever it is that you keep. But the bottom line is to keep those goals ever present before you. All right. Your daily schedule. We're talking about that. What time block do you have for that prospecting? For that hour and a half of daily prospecting, that's going to get each and every last one of you to your goals. Where does that fit in? And I want you guys to think about that while we're on the call. So when you think about what your day looks like, this is where you start. When you're doing your time blocking, you get your planner and you want to go ahead and block off all the time for your non-negotiables so that that's not even a part of the equation. Some non-negotiables, for some of you, you have a 9 to 5 in your dual career in real estate. Well, you already know what your calendar or your schedule is for that. So you just block off the time that you're not able to commit to it. You might have church, you might have Bible study, you might have date night with your spouse, you might have time that you have to take the kids to do something. You may have whatever it is that's a standing commitment. That's the first thing that you want to block out on your calendar. Look at your day. Some people might look at the day from 7 to 7. Some people might look at the day from 8 to 8, or from whatever time you look at your day, you want to plot it out in that manner, blocking out the time that is not available so that then you see all of the possibility you have in the time that's left over. And when you do it that way, I promise you're going to have an aha moment, because you're going to say, it felt like I didn't have any time whatsoever. And I realized I have 3 hours a day that I wasn't even paying attention to. Or I might have 8 hours on a Saturday that I was not even considering. Whatever it is that is, we are looking to see what you have in your hands, what you actually have available. And that's a part of our workshop that benefits us when we are here in the office together, because I would love to have us to do it. But if you guys are, if you have your planners with you at home, then I want you to do it at home and follow up with this, because I want to make sure that you are successful in doing that. So I need you to be accountable to make sure that you take these action item steps. Okay, identify that time. And if you can think about it offhand, if you say, okay, well, I know what time block I'm going to be able to commit to this daily prospecting, drop it in the chat or come off mute and let me know. If you already know, I want to hear from you. The accountability is very powerful. When you declare it out of your mouth that that's what you're going to commit to, then it signals your brain to follow through with it so that you can keep your word. So I want to hear you declare what time you're going to allocate so that you can do your 1.5 hours of daily prospecting. And keep in mind that based on the formula that we went through, I'll go back up a page so that we can see that this was only for 220 days out of a 365-day year. So one of those things that's also very important, when I say block out the non-negotiable time, before you put anything else on your calendar, you should have 4 weeks of vacation that you've already blocked out on your calendar. Quarterly is best. So whether you leave the country, whether you leave the state, or whether you leave your bedroom, you should block out those 4 weeks of vacation every single year. Because studies have shown that people who take vacations are far more productive than people who do not take vacations. You have better health, you have better mental and emotional state, and all of those things just from that place of rest. And we don't realize oftentimes how important it is for us to take that break, and in order for us to rest so that we can be refreshed and rejuvenated and come back and be diligent in the work that we have already in front of us. Does anybody have any questions or any comments about this segment of the business plan? If so, unmute yourself and go ahead and jump in. All right. If you do have any questions, go ahead and unmute yourself. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going. So one of the things that proves to be very useful is when you're doing your business planning in your planner, you might have an A week and a B week. On A week, you might have certain days allocated to certain activities, and they might alternate in the next week. That is perfectly fine, because the goal is for you to accomplish your tasks there, for you to accomplish your goals in that week. So if you have to fluctuate those based on other commitments that you have, allow yourself the flexibility to do that. But the bottom line is for you to make sure that you write down each one of the action items that you need to complete and give it its own time block. Okay? And if by chance you get to a point, like we said in the beginning, where say by chance something happens, because as people say, life will life. If something does happen and you had 30 minutes allocated to doing this exercise, but something happened, that is not a problem. That's why you remain flexible. You might have 30 minutes later that evening to fulfill that same goal. So you simply move it from the morning to the evening. And as long as you have committed the amount of time to accomplishing that goal, then you can remain flexible on how you accomplish that goal. All right. Does anybody have any questions there? All right. Any questions, comments, feedback for me? Otherwise, I'll continue. So then your time blocking goal activities, you have a template right in here in your business plan, so that if you want to start your day from 7:30 a.m. and end your day at 8:30 p.m., that is up to you. Whatever your day looks like, you want to make sure that you identify it, and you want to plot those action items right into those time blocks. So Monday through Friday, you have everything that you need so that you can write them down and put them in there. All right. So another thing that we talked about is challenges and solutions. Know that when you're looking to accomplish a goal, there are oftentimes going to be challenges, and that's a part of it's a part of the process. No different than if you are on your way to the office, you might have a speed bump to go over, you might have a stoplight, you might have a stop sign, you might have some traffic, you may have a detour, but that doesn't stop you from getting to the office. You simply make the adjustment and you keep moving forward. That is the exact same when you have a challenge that you need to face. If that challenge seems to be a stop sign for the moment, you take that stop and you keep moving forward. If you have to turn right, you turn right and you keep moving forward. Whatever it looks like, your goal should be to continue to progress no matter what happens, and know that every challenge has multiple solutions oftentimes. So you want to go ahead and brainstorm and say, okay, well, this is what my goals are. This is what my time blocking schedule is going to look like. So what challenges will I face during that? So as an example, if the challenge was remaining focused on this plan, then a solution might be to read the plan daily and to do your daily positive affirmations, to develop better health and an exercise plan, and that will help you to remain focused on the plan, right? Another challenge that people oftentimes face is complacency. If you have complacency as a challenge, one of the solutions will be to pre-book 4 vacations for the coming year, so that you always have something that you're looking forward to. One of the things that I got from Ms. Pat was having a bonus day. I used to say, well, when I'm doing good with my eating for the week, I'll have a cheat day. so that I can reward myself for, the good behaviors for that week. And Miss Pat had to give me a different perspective on it. She said, no, honey, no, baby, you don't say cheat day. It's a bonus day. Because when you say bonus, you're giving your brain something positive to focus on. Your chemicals in your body and everything responds differently to it when you're aspiring towards something positive versus you aspiring towards something negative. And I never forgot that. And I appreciate it. And anytime I want to give myself a bonus day, I give myself a bonus day to celebrate those accomplishments there. And it's just like that. When you say, okay, well, I've been working very diligently this quarter, you have a bonus week, which is a vacation, right? And I say it in that way with very much purpose and intention, because oftentimes people look like, taking time off is a dirty word, but not in our space where you need to be refreshed and you need to be in good health. Rest is very important. Rest says that I know that I don't have to work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, because I trust that my source, my provider, is going to take care of me as long as I'm diligent and doing what it is that I need to do. I trust that seed time and harvest is going to produce in my life. So pre-booking those 4 vacations per year will help you not to be complacent. There's another thing that's associated with that, guys. When you have those 4 vacations booked per year, you got to be diligent to make sure you're doing what you need to do so that you can enjoy those vacations. So it'll give you that added push as well. All right. If your challenge is lack of confidence, then the solution to that is training and practicing. If you are a new agent, then each new agent faces that challenge, and the solution is simple and is readily available for all of our agents. You have training videos. We have hundreds of training videos on our Porterhouse YouTube channel. You have consistently your brokerment library. You have your newsletter that comes out with pertinent information on a weekly basis for you guys. You have the board. You have YouTube University for anything that you need. You have your leadership team. You have your broker, your owner. You have so many different resources for training. So we ask that you are diligent and you are consistent so that you avail yourself to the trainings that are being provided and you actually take it and practice it. Because that is going to benefit you tremendously when it comes time for you to do business. When that opportunity the opportunity is afforded to you or presents itself to you, then you will say, oh, I'm confident. I know how to do this listing presentation because I've been practicing it. I'm confident. I know how to do this buyer consultation because I practiced it. I sat in with Mr. Porter. I know how to show this buyer. I know how to do what I need to do because when I didn't have a buyer, I worked with Anita on her buyer. This is my first listing and I wouldn't have otherwise known what to do. But when I didn't have a listing, I worked with Darlene on her listing. So I've walked through each one of those steps so that I'm not waiting until I'm working with my own client, but I'm availing myself so that I'm able to assist my fellow Realty Pro colleagues. And in doing so, I'm gaining the confidence that I need so that I don't have to shy away from business opportunities. All right. Another challenge, distractions in the office. You don't have to worry about that. But if you did, headsets, they're useful in case you needed to get your earphones for prospecting. All right. So one of the challenges that people might say schedule is overwhelming. We talked about this. Remain flexible as a solution. Reprioritize and rework the plan as necessary. Because we know life has all of its variables in it. We want to make sure that we are flexible. We have time blocked. We've systematized our business so that no matter what happens, you have drip campaigns going out consistently so that you're constantly in front of your sphere of influence. You have things that are going out and you have developed a strategy so that you are calling people on a consistent basis so that you have a steady flow of referrals coming into you so that when life does start to throw challenges at you, you're not completely undone because you've set these systems in place in advance. And with that too, a very large part of that is contributing to the team. Because when you come and you offer your assistance, when your Realty Pro colleagues are in need of some assistance, then that is seed sown for when you are in a position and life happens, then now you have those resources to pull on. You can say, okay, well, you know, you can hope that you know that you're going to get that same level of support that you were able to provide. So just think about those things and sow those seeds that you want to reap the harvest on. All right. So in your business plan as well, the potential challenges, you want to list those, because the list that we went through, that was only the top 5, but they are not extensive at all. So whatever those challenges are for you, write them down. And chances are, when you think about the things you need to accomplish anyway, one of the first thoughts that'll pop up into your mind are all of the challenges that might be associated with it. Write it down. And I challenge you to come up with a solution. Say, how can I accomplish this? What things do I need to do? What do I need to establish so that I can overcome this no matter what comes my way? Give yourself this space to be creative in your thinking and to come up with those solutions. All right. Last but certainly not least, very, very important in this business plan is your affirmation sheet. This here, your position, you want to come from a position of knowing that, number one, all things are possible, and you want to come from a positive mindset. Because the difference in the agent that makes $1 versus the agent that makes 100,000, or the agent that makes, you know, $1 million, is simply a matter of mindset. What you think. You've heard us say before, all things are possible if you believe. So if you believe that it's possible, then it is. If you believe that it's not possible, then for you, it may not be. But we believe that all things are possible for each and every last Realty Pro. We absolutely know with certainty that they are. It's possible. So we want you to start with a positive mindset every single day. We want you to declare these things out of your mouth. All things are possible to me because I believe. I believe that I can do all things. I am empowered to prosper in everything that I do. I enjoy learning about my business. What I learn will be evident by what I do. I am diligent in my business. I have a standard of excellence. There is an abundance of business waiting for me. I enjoy overcoming a good challenge. I am not afraid to step out on faith. I give exceptional customer service. I value people above profits. I foster great relationships. I choose wisely. I operate in integrity. I have unlimited potential. I live my life through deliberate intention. Every challenge is a victory in the making. I want you guys to read some of these with me. Take yourself off mute, and I want to hear you guys read these affirmations. Mr. McPayton, sir, you can go first. Come on and unmute. I see you there.
I'm working on it. I'm sorry. Takes a minute for me. And I can't see it. I'm got myself on here. Come back to me, Ms. Porter, please.
Okay, no problem. Whoever is next, come on, everybody. I want to hear everybody read at least one of these.
I value people over profits. I foster great relationships. I choose wisely. I operate in integrity. I know exactly what I want, and I am doing everything necessary to get it.
Excellent. Renee?
I am detail oriented. I have excellent perspective. I treat every person with courtesy and respect, and I see every person as a future source of business.
Excellent. Thank you, Renee. Come on, Jawan.
I am energetic. I have tremendous endurance. I always ask effective questions. I am focused and committed. I know that I know.
Excellent. Let's see. Come on, Faith.
I love myself unconditionally. I feel wonderful. I'm healthy, strong, and vibrant. I have great insight. I am action oriented. I'm motivated. I have keen sense of direction. I'm a winner, and I'm winning.
Outstanding. Who'd like to go next?
Okay, can you hear me now, Ms. Porter?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I get everything done in perfect timing. I'm energetic. I have tremendous endurance. I always ask effective questions.
Excellent. Perfect. Who's next? Let's see. Come on. Either Angela or Talitha. I don't want to leave you ladies out.
There is an abundance of business waiting for me. I enjoy overcoming a good challenge. I give exceptional customer service. I foster great relationships, and I operate in integrity.
Outstanding. Thank you, Talitha. Angela or Darlene? If you're not able to unmute
I
at the
follow
moment.
up and follow through perfectly. Can you hear me okay, Jasmine?
Yes.
Okay, great. I follow up and follow through perfectly. I understand success and how to achieve it. I am competent and diligent.
Excellent. Darlene or Anitha? And then Cheryl. All right.
I know that I know I can because I know I can. I follow through. I follow up and follow through perfectly.
Excellent. Come on, Cheryl.
I am competent and diligent.
Indeed you are. I think you can give us more than that, Darlene. Everybody else read quite a number of them. Come on, you're definitely competent and diligent. What else?
Okay.
Yeah, Darlene, come on.
Come on, Darlene.
Let me see.
We're all rooting for you. You can read all of these because they all apply to you. I want them to apply to every last one of you. So you take these as your own.
I choose wisely. I operate in integrity. I know exactly what I want and I am.
Excellent. All right. Last but certainly not least, Cheryl.
I am not afraid to step out on faith. I give exceptional customer service. I value people above profits. I am detail oriented and I love myself unconditionally.
Outstanding. I love it, guys. This is wonderful, and this is what I want for every last Realty Pro to do on a daily basis. So when you are setting your mind and you're getting everything together for the day, you're thinking about what you need to do for the week, this is how I want you to start. I want you to start from a place of affirming your position, from a positive mindset, from knowing that all things are possible to you, for knowing that there is an abundance of business, that you are excellent at what you do, that people are looking for your business, right? I want you to come from this place because this will attract those things to you. You want to make sure that you are intentional about declaring these things about yourself so that you overcome any obstacles or challenges that come up in the face of you trying to accomplish your challenges. And you may have a thought that says, oh, well, you can't do this or whatever the case is. You cast that thing down right away. And you say, all things are possible to me because I believe, right? You might say, well, I don't know what I'm doing about this. I know, what I can do. I operate in integrity. I choose wisely. I know exactly what I want, and I'm doing everything necessary to get it. Oh, you can't do this listing. I can absolutely do it. I'm very detail oriented. I'm energetic. I get everything done and in perfect timing. I'm a winner and I am winning. I have a keen sense of direction. So I love the fact that you guys took ownership of these things and you declare them over yourself is very important for you. Like I said in the beginning, your mindset, the difference between the person who does and does not is the mindset. The difference between the person who is winning and who is not is the mindset. So in closing, I want for every last one of our Realty Pros for you to have the mindset of a winner, you to declare these things over yourself every single day, and for you to be consistent and diligent in the things that we've discussed. So as we talked about, the goal setting action planner. It is located right in your Broker Mint library for you, as well as your business plan. So in making this easy, the one goal that you're looking to accomplish that will have the single most positive impact on everything else, you write that one goal down right on this SMART goal action plan, write that one thing at the top. And then what you're going to do below that is break down the specific action items that you need to complete in order to accomplish that goal. Then you're going to go through each one of those columns, making it SMART, specific, measurable, attainable. Up under the attainable comes the achievable and the potential challenges that we just faced or we talked about, and the resources that you need in order to accomplish that, right? And here's the litmus test for everything that's going to come up within the next quarter or the next 2 quarters for you. Here's how I want you to measure those things. Anything that comes up, because there's a lot of good things to do, but not all things are going to lead you close to your goal. So the litmus test for everything that comes up is, does it get me closer to my goal? Say that one more time. The litmus test for everything that comes up is, does it get me closer to my goal? And if not, it may be something good to do, but it is not relevant to helping you to accomplish the goal that you've set. And that goal you've already predetermined is the single most important thing that if you accomplish that, it's going to have the most positive impact on the rest of your life. So the goal is very much important. It is a top priority. Remember, we've gone through the activity of you identifying the 10 things, and from that, you choosing the priority. Why am I saying all that? I'm saying that because you want to guard your time. You want to be like an umpire, making sure that you keep out distractions so that you can accomplish that goal. And with everything that we talked about, you absolutely set a deadline so you make that thing time bound. I thank you guys for your time and your participation. I'm going to turn the floor over to you. And with that, I will pass it back over to Anita.
Thank you, Mrs. Porter. We appreciate. So did thumbs up if this training was beneficial to you? If this training was, put a thumbs up in the, wherever you put the thumbs up. If it was beneficial to you, I